Unstick yourself.
Welcome to another episode of Unstick Yourself. If you're listening to this show, then you've recently been through a very difficult breakup and you're finding yourself stuck, unable to move forward because these painful emotions keep dragging you back. But I want you to know you're not alone. In fact, I'm in the same place. And that's why I created this show, to help us all move forward together. Each week, I'll give you one or two ideas to try or to think about, and then we can begin a dialogue in the comments below, or you can email me at unstickyourself@yahoo.com. So if that sounds good, let's go ahead and get started. I want to do a short episode this week on my thoughts about rebound relationships and why I think they're a bad idea. A rebound relationship, of course, is a relationship that you dive right into after a breakup to fill that sudden empty space that you have. Now, there are studies out there that suggest that getting into a relationship quickly is actually beneficial. It will help you mentally and physically. They say it gives you confidence. They suggest it makes the healing easier. But here's my take on it for what it's worth. When I met my wife, I had been lonely for a long time. I had dated off and on, but I was really missing that deeper connection. And by my late 20s, it was an aching gap in my soul. I was so lonely. And so when I met my wife, I was like a man who'd been crawling through the desert, and I finally found an oasis. It was this sudden bliss. And as the relationship went on, in the back of my mind, there was always that little bit of fear that something was going to happen and I was going to once again be alone. That fear said, what if she gets a disease and dies? Or what if she gets in a car accident and she's no longer there for me? There was always a little part of me that was afraid. I had no idea that it would be her actually just leaving without warning, but it is what it is. And so here I sit once again with this gaping wound in my soul. And the temptation is to fill that wound with someone else as soon as possible. And I've talked to some divorced guys who, as soon as they're single, they went out and they started dating immediately. And some of them had 3 girlfriends at once. Some of them just spent a lot of time having sex again. And it all sounded really awesome. But this, I think, is merely a distraction, and it's avoiding the difficult work that needs to be done. Let's say you come down with cancer and you go through chemo and all the fighting that you need to do to get healthy again. And it works. You go into remission. And you go back to living life the exact same way that you had lived it. And several years down the road, you have cancer once again. So what went wrong? What went wrong is the doctors only treated the symptoms of the cancer. They made no effort to find the root cause of the cancer. And in my mind, jumping into a rebound relationship is not all that different. You're treating your symptoms, your loneliness, your heartache, your grief, by filling this void with someone else. But you're not getting at the root cause of the problem. And if you don't take several steps back and analyze all the things that went wrong with your relationship, there's a very real danger that you'll bring those same problems into your next relationship. A breakup is a good time to do some deep evaluation and some personal development. In the months since my ex told me that she no longer loves me, I have listened to hundreds of hours of relationship talks and advice and seminars, and I've watched countless YouTube videos. I've listened to books on tape, all to get a better understanding of what went wrong and what I needed to do right. And this is all work that I wish I had done before I got married, because it would have gone a long way in keeping my marriage alive. But I feel like it's work that has helped me tremendously. Some of my favorite YouTube videos, and I'm going to do some future shows on some of these, but a few of my favorites are The Essentials of a Healthy Marriage by Dr. Gary Chapman. I talked about this video last week, so if you haven't watched that one yet, check it out. Another good one is Making Marriage Work by Dr. John Gottman. This is just an incredible video. He analyzes 30 years worth of research on couples, and it really gets to the root of the causes of what destroys or what maintains a relationship. Very good video. Another good one is Learn the 2 Key Ingredients for Successful Relationships with Emerson Eggerichs. Now, I've watched this one multiple times, and he is such a good speaker, and he makes such good points. It's well worth a watch. And another one I like for personal reasons, simply because my wife walked out on me, is one that's called The Walkaway Wife Syndrome by Michelle Weiner Davis. She kind of, in 5 minutes, she summarizes exactly what my situation is. And there are tons of great videos out there, but these are some of my favorites. So I encourage you to watch these videos and then take some time to really look at your past relationship and see where you may have made some of these mistakes. It's easy to see where our exes made mistakes, but take a close look at where you made mistakes, because that's where you need to grow and that's where you need to develop. And this is your time for personal development as well. I talked about this in episode 2, how I started to work out. I started to wake up with gratitude in my heart and listening to inspirational talks to and from work instead of the radio. I pushed myself outside of my comfort zone in the areas of public speaking by joining Toastmasters. So think about the areas where you can grow. Where do you see yourself having weaknesses, and what are your fears? Push yourself into those areas that you fear and conquer them. I know I'm terrified every time I walk into a Toastmasters meeting, but when I leave, I'm always glad that I went, because it's fun and the people are great. You'll find that once you face your fears enough times, they no longer control you. You control them. One other thought on jumping into a rebound relationship. By doing so, you're reinforcing a subconscious belief that you need someone in your life to feel whole. The idea that you need someone in your life to complete you is Hollywood bullshit. You need to take some time and get your head into a place where you know for a fact that you don't need anyone in your life to feel whole. Know that you are enough, and when you get there, you'll date someone because you want the companionship in your life, not because you feel like you're missing something that they can provide. That is the way to enter a relationship. I'll admit I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer every day. So these are some of my reasons for not jumping into a rebound relationship. If you take the time to look back on where you went wrong and where you could improve, and if you take the time to do some personal development, the next person you date will get the best version of you that there's ever been. And you'll be armed with knowledge that you didn't have in your previous relationship. If, however, you jump into a relationship right away, a rebound relationship, without having done this work, then it's a lateral move at best. You are the same person you were, and you will make the same mistakes you made. That's it for this week. As always, I'll leave you with a quote, and that quote is this: "Never regret being a good person to the wrong people. Your behavior says everything about you, and their behavior says enough about them." Thanks for joining me on my healing journey. I'll talk to you next week on another episode of UnStick Yourself. Be well, my friends.
UnStick yourself.